Starfleet Underground. Every week, we'll take a look at the latest Star Trek news and then check out a current or classic episode of Star Trek. Hoshi has trouble with her phaser. Reed gets beaten up by a hot Klingon. T'Pol shows Hoshi how to enhance her calm with finger technique. And then Hoshi tells Malcom to shoot the whole wad below. I mean, fire all the photon torpedoes and either save the day or go out with a bang.
Thank you so much for that information. I'll make sure that I'll relay that on to the crew later on. Oh, geez, it looks like the light's on. Hey, welcome aboard, everybody. Thank you for coming back to another exciting episode of Starfleet Underground. We're the podcast where our ship is always cloaked. We're being brought to you by not only Section 31, but our most awesome Patreon members. Thank you so much. Because of you, our Tribbles have been reproducing a lot less. So we actually may have them under control now for all the neutering and spading that's going on. And we give a special thank you to Lana, because with her donation, we're able to get them the Cool Ranch Doritos that they love so much.
Thank you, Lana.
So we see a lot of Dorito dust everywhere. Now, this does not mean that Doritos has endorsed us nor gave us any money for the compensation of using your name. And last part, if you're a kid, I say this with all love and respect as I have for your little rug runners. Get the fuck out.
Leave.
Out. This is not your podcast. When you get a little older and you get hair on your soccer field, then you can listen to us. So get out.
Hair on your soccer field?
Is that the same as hair on your balls?
Right. So if that's the case, then you can't. So
Okay.
Other than that, this is us. So thank you so much. First off, my name is Nathan. I'm the captain of this beautiful Defiant class vessel. And we have here our science officer.
Hi, I'm Heather Ferris. I'm the science officer. And Captain, you weren't kidding. These Tribbles are going nuts now that they're neutered. Thank you, Patreons. I am looking through some of these Tribble postcards, and I found this one that I am not going to post up on Patreon because there's an orgy with one of the crew members. I'm not sure if HR has seen this.
Rocky.
Oh, no. You know, first time ever since they've been neutering. So thank you, Dom. Now that they've been neutered, the first time the translator always they going food, right? This time I go by and I heard a new word out of them.
Is it a new F word?
A new word? No, they're going, I hear no lie, the translator is going dry hump.
That's a very accurate translation.
Very specific.
Allegedly, I would think, because I don't know for sure personally.
So I thought that was pretty wild. So thank you so much. And we have here also our computer guy, our liaison, as he likes to pronounce it.
Hello, this is Patrick. I'm the computer person. I'm your foreign species liaison, and I'm number one. Bow chicka wow wow.
And of course, we have our engineer today.
Coming in from auxiliary control today. How are y'all doing?
It's about time you checked out that room over there. I was always wondering.
It wasn't as dusty as I thought it was going to be, but there's still a little bit of dust here and there.
Well, you got to make sure that Battle Bridge is ready.
If you find any not moving Tribbles, let me know. I'll call the medic.
Okay, I'll be keeping an eye out.
That'll be good because we're going to make sure that Battle Bridge is ready. We never know. Even though we're cloaked, somebody might find us by accident.
It's always good to have a backup.
This is very true.
Or have your back up against a wall.
We're talking about
What now?
What part of the back?
I'm not telling you.
Oh, that laugh. You sure that you're not part of that triple gangbang postcard there, Pat?
No, those Tribbles are female.
So
I'm the homo on the ship. Hello.
Yeah, but what did you say the other day? In the dark, every hole is moist. So what was that?
Oh my!
I did not.
You sure you did?
You disgusting breeder.
Why you're sitting there being all offended? Is there any corrections?
I don't believe so, but let me check subspace once more real quickly here. No, we are spotless.
Once again, we are on a roll. It's been a long time since we had a correction. That's most awesome. Next, we're going to move into a new... Wait, I see a thing here. from Heather. It's not going to be news. It looks like it's going to be a rant. Heather?
So my news is from Screen Rant. And what happened was they came out with a theory for Picard season 2. So you can check this link out in the show notes below. But Screen Rant thinks that they may be setting up the temporal wars and time travel for Picard season 2. We know Q will be involved. They think Picard might have something to do with the temporal wars.
Oh, wow.
It's about time.
Oh my God.
Oh, my goodness.
That was a timely joke. Come on now.
No, please. Please.
It's getting worse.
It was so old.
It was so bad it was funny.
Speaking about bad is funny, Patrick, what's your news?
Well, I have some news from the set of Star Trek: A Strange New Worlds. Unfortunately, production was halted because a actor who was set as on a guest role tested positive for COVID-19. It was believed he was flying from Vancouver to Toronto, where the series is filmed, but they caught him before he actually got to set. So they're doing the contact tracing and all that good stuff, but they shut production down, out of an abundance of caution.
Oh, that was lucky. It's a good thing they're doing that. They caught him before they got to their main crew. So it shows they're really watching out for all their crew members and staff. That was good news.
Well, Spock probably would have been fine. I mean, Vulcans.
This is true. It doesn't bother their blood. How about you there, Rocky?
It probably eats the virus because it's green. It's like, yomp, 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 yomp.
You get anything for us there, Rocky?
I was looking at the musical side of things. The Discovery Season 3 soundtrack is officially out and available digitally. Of course, the Emmy Award-winning composer Jeff Russo made it, and very eager to get a copy of that because he does such great work for music. And it was entertaining. The quote about, they left him a quote from him about talking about the challenges of doing orchestral music during a pandemic. And of course, the harder challenge was figuring out the actual theme for Grudge the Cat.
Well, it's also really kind of cool. It's because, he's a former top 40 musician, band member.
I didn't even recognize the name and put two and two together until I saw one of these clips about him. I can't remember the band he was in, but it's one we're all familiar with.
Yeah, I don't remember it off the top of my head, but we all know what band he was in.
And so he's a legit rock and roll musician. So musically, he composes just phenomenal stuff. So it's a very good skilled musician and composer. Also, on the music side of things, for all you musicians that can read music or just Star Trek fans in general that just like to collect every single thing you can get your hands on, the legendary score to Star Trek, the motion picture, written by Jerry Goldsmith. You heard of him? You sure you have, if you like some of the music in the movies. That sucker is out and available, and you can get it printed, and it matches the 3 CD set of the motion picture soundtrack that was re-released in 2012. It includes some of the stuff that was not even recorded. So there's music that was actually composed and not recorded, not used in the movie, but you can look at the score and see it for yourself. And things are scored like the non-musical instruments, like the synthesizer stuff too. It's very
Where is that
cool.
available?
That is available directly from Omni for $85. So we'll put a link in the show note to where you can look that up and find that.
I see one on Amazon for $149.
I'm going to get mine from Quark's new site, QZ, which is not to be confused with Etsy. And it looks like he has it there, so I'll pick it up. Oh, it's not too bad. It's only a couple of gold press platinums.
Make sure you get the full 473-page soft cover book.
Oh, yeah, I got to make sure because, their rules of acquisition, the buyer beware. So thank you for that.
That's pretty cool. I mean, as a nerd and a musician that I haven't read musical score like that, nor can I appreciate exactly all the details involved in that. But the score is legendary. And to get into all those details and look at every single note, that's just cool.
Going to have to get that and put it right next to Captain Sulu's almanac. So, yeah, definitely. Now, for my news, for those of you remember the figures that used to be out, Kenner's original Star Wars figures they had back in the day? Well, looks like they're going to be doing a new line of Star Trek The Next Generation action figures, kind of similar to the Kenner ones that were released in the 70s and 80s. It's going to be dropping this June if you're interested. The figures include Jean-Luc Picard, Worf, Data, Wesley Crusher, Guinan, and a Borg drone. I guess their hands look like you can put a pistol or something in it, but it really looks like each figure is getting ready to give a hand job. So there's that.
Well, that's perfect for you.
That's a very important collectible note.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
kind of interesting. Now, before we got onto the show, when I went on Liberty the other day, I met one of our Starfleet captains that had retired for a while. It was Captain Matthews. And he's been seeing this Bajoran woman that's retired in a senior's home. And he told me about a thing that happened. He went to go visit her. And so he went to go visit her, and they had this nice little lake, this little river. And he went on a rowboat with her. And he said he was rowing it down. They get to a fork in the river, and he says, Sylvie, up or down? And she rips her clothes off, and he says it just passionately just like screws him right in the boat. And so he was so shocked. So they continue a while. They get to another fork, and he goes, Sylvie, up or down? And she rips her clothes off again and does it. So he said this happens like 3 more times, and it just amazed him. So he said the next day he decided to pick her up. He was looking forward to it because he's like, it was such a wild night. They're in the boat, and they get to the part in the river, and he's like, Sylvie, up or down? She goes, up. He goes, okay. So they roll the boat, and they go up, and he comes to another fork, and he goes, Sylvie, up or down? She goes, down. So now he's really getting kind of confused because yesterday she was this passion pot, right? So they get to another fork in the road. Goes, Sylvie, up or down? He's getting real excited. She goes, let's go up. Goes, let me ask you a question. Yesterday, when I asked you to go up or down, you screwed my brains out. Today, you just pick a direction. What's the difference? She goes, oh, yesterday I forgot to charge my hearing aid. And when you said up or down, I thought you said fuck or drown.
Oh.
Dang. Always keep your battery charged.
So I thought that was extremely funny. So I just had to relate to you. Sorry, Captain Matthews, I gave away your secret.
Good Lord Almighty.
Yeah, of course you wouldn't get it. You'd have liked it better was Captain Matthews and Captain Stevens. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Your turn, Heather.
Hi, Captain. So this week's episode is Star Trek Enterprise Season 1, Episode 14, Sleeping Dogs. It first aired January 30th, 2002. Teaser. This is why we need a holodeck. Reed introduces Hoshi to one of the new phaser pistols, and they set up the armory for target practice. However, this may take a while, seeing as Hoshi can't shoot for shit. No worries, the ship drops out of warp and target practice is canceled for the day because of a giant smelly gas ball, which is 100 times more interesting.
Well, smelly balls are very interesting.
I was wondering what you ate to make that giant gas ball.
No, that was Nathan. He's the gassy one.
No, I don't think so.
I knew they were serving beans in the mess hall. I just didn't know it'd produce a giant gas ball like that.
You won't find me sniffing balls, so that's all on you. But this is kind of the first time we saw a reasonable kind of a holodeck
simulation
thing going on. Yeah, the fact that she was trying to aim at it and he was giving her direction on how to be a proper marksman.
Hoshi's a terrible shot. She has below 50% accuracy rate.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, the first thing that it reminded me of was...
Stormtroopers?
No, I was playing a first-person shooter video game and then giving my PlayStation controller to my 8-year-old, sister or brother or something.
It's about control. She was really, really going for it, but she wasn't really controlling what she was doing.
But didn't she say something about having a better score at the academy? This was a new pistol.
Well,
so
she blamed it on the weapon. And
they
there might
always
have
blame
been
it on the weapon.
It just went off. I don't know.
He always says that too. It was 2 minutes. I swear, I don't know what happened.
I thought it was fully charged. You know what I mean?
It just exploded.
It just went off. I apologize. At least you aim and hit the target is of course the nature of the beast. And
right.
When you go to the shooting range, you kind of learn, especially if you get a chance to try out different caliber weapons, some handle differently. It's just a fact the way they are. But you can't anticipate what the weapon's going to do. You have to follow the shot yourself. If you're worried about it kicking back on you and you're not ready for the kickback, but you're more worried about the kickback, your aim is not going to be as good. So if you have to become one with the weapon and know when you send that shot down the range, it's going to hit the right place where you're aiming at, and you're not twitching or you're not nervous, you're not freaking out because your body's all tensed up. For someone who has gone to the shooting range before, you can relate to what Hoshi was being told, and that she needs to calm down and let her shoulders relax.
Become one with the gun, Hoshi-san.
But wasn't he saying that the gun was so accurate you didn't have to worry worry about all the other exterior elements or circumstances.
Well, she's
that might...
overcompensating for it, though. She's because the other
she's
weapon she was using probably had a bigger kick, and it's this newer, lighter weapon is you really don't have to brace yourself when you shoot the sucker.
Or whatever.
But here's the thing: they're in the armory. They're in like a shuttle bay. They're in this big old room where nothing's going on. There's no wind. There's no elements. There's no outside factors. Like, what is she?
Well, she's also trying to aim at a moving target. It's more of like a video game. You got to move and hit from different places and different times.
Yeah, Hoshi will never be my player too.
No,
there you go.
She was all tensed up also because he kept telling her to relax her shoulders. In the Marines, we had a phrase called brass F when on the rifle range, which stood for breathe, relax, aim, stop, squeeze, and follow through. So the trigger should always fall to the point where it surprises you. Like Rocky said, you shouldn't anticipate the fall of the trigger, and you have a nice smooth trigger action. And if you're relaxed and you aim, you're good to go. But she was tense, so that's why she kept missing. And she was trying to do Kentucky windage. He says, you don't have to try to compensate for the drift. Just aim and fire. Just point and shoot.
Yeah. And you don't want to just like sit there and click as fast as you can. Although that's kind of the object is hit as many times, hit the target as many times within a given time.
She was using the spray and pray technology.
Yeah,
or
she was
tactic
hitting,
or whatever.
You could hear her, the rate she was firing. There was a bad rhythm to it. It wasn't really, setting and going, it wasn't as methodical sounding as you think it should be.
Spray and pray.
Yeah, it's kind of like you take a teenager to a strip club for the first time. You give them $20 singles.
And
like,
they spray and pray.
Yeah, and the first time the person shakes the boobs, all those singles go on the stage. It's like, I'm out of money now. So,
when
you're right on that.
About shooting the wad, as it were.
Yep, exactly.
Bomb, 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 bomb.
Okay, I guess we can go to the next section since we made Hoshi feel bad.
Hi, Captain. So, Act 1, SBD, silent but deadly. As soon as Archer sees the giant gas ball, his first instinct is to launch a probe and see what they've been eating, since, he can't smell it from the inside. Amazingly, they find a ship instead and decide to send an away team to go check it out. When Reed, T'Pol, and Hoshi arrive, they get a noseful of rottenness, and it's not coming from the giant gas ball outside. Reed remarks how lucky he is to have COVID, now a common cold in 2151, and he can't smell a thing. They discover that they are on a Klingon ship, which is confirmed when they walk in on the leftovers of a massive party and Klingons utterly hung over. As the away team argues about what to do, a stray Klingon takes them by surprise and steals their shuttle pod, leaving them stranded and doomed to their death.
What I want to know is T'Pol makes the statement that they've entered in an eddy. I want to know who's Eddie and why are they entering him?
Wait, what?
Oh my God, you need help. He's talking about the nitrogen eddy.
The helium eddy.
Gas giants like the helium. You get a gas giant like that. Gases are in liquid form. And so they went through a eddy of liquid nitrogen going by.
Are you talking about the siren songs?
No, when the shuttle was going through the atmosphere.
Oh,
They went through an eddy, and so Paul says we've entered an eddy. So I wanted to know who is Eddie and why did they enter him?
All I'm thinking of is sexual references to Eddie from Iron Maiden.
No, he was trying to think of Eddie from Rocky Horror Picture Show. He just, okay, we're going to continue past that part.
Gotcha.
Not without the catch-up. Okay, so we're going to continue. They were on, first off, the female Klingon, she was in the freezer.
She was chilling.
Why? Okay, that was funny.
For some reason, she felt like she needed to go to the freezer, and I think things are going bad on this ship because all these Klingons were infected by this crazy little neurotoxin. They mentioned there's a neurotoxin in there. It's dissipated now, but it was in there. And
she wanted to ice herself before the toxin did.
I think she just went for some ice cream, and she was just happened to be there getting some ice cream.
The gas giant was giving her nightmares, just like it gave Mayweather nightmares.
But fortunately for her, she was chilling in the fridge, and it slowed down the neurotoxin for her.
Well, they came out and they showed that all Klingon warrior women show massive cleavage.
Yep. And she was a pretty hot for a Klingon, too.
She kicked ass, though. Malcom got his butt kicked by her.
He was having a bad day. First the cold, and then he got punched in the face.
I think Hoshi gave it to him.
Yeah, come on. I mean, it's 2151 and they don't have a freaking cure for the common cold yet. Hello.
I think
It's
Hoshi
COVID.
gave it to him. He didn't have a cold when they were in the firing range. Then after Hoshi leaves, he's got the sniffles. She
He was
totally gave it to him.
just starting to feel the ill effects just toward the end of that shooting range session. Yeah.
No wonder.
I think she gave it to him.
And the doctor's like, wear a mask or a helmet.
No, seriously. And it's like, it's a good thing it didn't happen in the 20th century where they called it the Hoshi virus. So,
Oh, God, no.
Oh, man.
Hey, I like Hoshi though. She really felt like she
She's
was
nice.
ready to do this mission. She was like, "Hey, I can go.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm ready to go. I know I need to do this. I need to be there. Especially if you need somebody needs to read a panel or something. She needs to be there on this mission." She's like, "I'm ready to go. I think I got it. I like
Yeah.
that."
I'm Barbarella. Let's go.
well,
I was
she's
super
changed.
psyched. I was super psyched that she was on the show and had lines and character development and actually, had something to do.
I'm glad also the fact that they show character growth, because before she was scared shitless. She didn't want to go on a away mission. She just wanted to stay in the rear with the gear. I just want to be safe.
Well, she didn't even want to get on the ship initially, so.
No, but she was ready to go, and she was very instrumental in helping read the stuff later. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. This is also, too, the only appearance we ever see of a Klingon Raptor class scout vessel.
It's true.
But we got
It's
to see
true.
Gach.
We got what?
Yeah, but the goth was dead though.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't. That galley looked like it wasn't used for at least a couple of days. So no wonder things smelt bad aboard the ship.
Yeah.
All them dead targs hanging up there.
Yeah, they want their food ready, fresh, and freshly prepared. So it must have been sitting there for days for it to smell bad. Like,
And if it was sitting there for days, they must have, been sitting in their crap and feces and shit. That probably didn't smell good.
Inside their room, they opened up their room and the targs were there. So that's kind of funny in a way because targs are also pets for Klingons. So it's like you have a targ as a pet. When it gets old and die, you eat it.
That's really horrible.
I'm sorry, I'm a big city guy, so I don't know what it's like on the farm life, but apparently that's kind of normal, right?
That is so awful.
Yeah.
Data has Spot, so when Spot dies, he's going to eat his pussy.
Well,
Oh my
Jesus
God.
Christ. No, it's more like a pig. Pigs are, really smart, intelligent, fun animals to have as pets, but they're also bacon. So
Bacon.
Oh, yeah, just like this farmer talked about this guy came to a farm and he saw this pig running around with 3 legs. And he goes, "What happened to this pig?" They said, "This is a hero pig. My family got caught in a fire. This pig broke down the door and he dragged out me, my wife, and my child out of that fire and saved our lives." He goes, "Oh, so the pig lost his leg in the fire?" He goes, "No, with a pig that brave, you can't eat them all at once."
Oh, no.
You're such an ass.
yeah, that's pretty awful. I love the little note in Memory Alpha that was the first all CG Targ.
Oh,
So those Targs, when they're barking, them Targs were barking. That was first time you ever see all CG Targ. I thought that was kind of cool. It worked
Wow.
pretty good.
it did. It did. They actually, the graphics did get better in this one because, yeah, that was nicely done with the Targs. But they were up close with the Klingon. And like you said, that woman came out of the freezer and she was cold as ice. And she
I like
beat
that trying to take shots at her with the phaser. If you get that phaser target practice a little more time, somebody might have gotten her with the phaser, but they were missing.
Well, she was a foreigner who was cold as ice.
Yeah, this is true. And she parkoured up that hallway and got out.
Yeah.
I think
So-
Nathan's the only one who got that reference.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I'm old, so there's that. But that was pretty cool. And then she goes to leave, and you see they use cute little abbreviations. It's like, get the UT into the broadcast. I'll tie the UT in to see what she's saying.
Oh, yeah, for Universal Translator.
And she's like automatically made assumptions that the Enterprise is the one that did it to them.
Well, just don't add an I to the end of that because then you need some cream from Phlox.
Oh my God, what is wrong with us today? What is wrong with us today?
I'm just thinking about Foreigner cold as ice for some reason.
Because it's a great song.
I'm trying not to sing a certain song that really stinks.
Uh-oh.
I like Jukebox Hero better, but
But it was she got out of there and they used the grappler. Mind you, they don't have a tractor beam yet.
This was the best demonstration of the grappler I've seen so far.
I have to agree.
That back of that shuttle pod and reeled her back in. I mean, that was the only instance where I thought maybe that grappler is not so bad, because every other time I've seen them use it, it was like, oh, this is a disaster waiting to happen.
They just missed the sound effect of Mortal Kombat. Get over here!
Just so you guys know, the grappling hook is next section.
Oh,
that's right. Yeah, because, okay. So,
well, then let's go to the next section.
Let's go to the next section. That's a good idea.
Okay, Act 2, Rescue Gone Wrong. The fleeing Klingon tries to escape, but Enterprise catches her with their grappling hook instead. Meanwhile, the away team is freaking out, looking for anything that might help them escape or survive. Archer tries his best to rescue his team by sending the Enterprise into the gas giant ball, but he gets crushed in the process. I guess they should have brought an extra shuttle with them into space. Too bad they only have one.
They had another shuttle, but they said that the Raptor got to the crush depth. They wouldn't have been able to send the other shuttle because it would have been crushed.
Okay, same thing. They only brought 2.
Yeah, so they have, it's possible. They only had 2. Don't know how many is on there.
Right? You go out into space, you're not giving me at least like 10?
You know, you could do like Voyager. They always was building one.
They always had a couple extra lying around.
You know,
they probably didn't have enough pilots for, to have 10 shuttlecraft.
You see Reed in the shuttle bay on the weekends, like fixing the broken, like beat up shuttle that you're going to use.
Seriously.
It's our only one.
He's doing a Lego build of another shuttle.
He's probably has like a parts queen in a corner, and he's in a wife beater ripped.
Yes.
There you go.
Side.
Greasy and got a Ricusser wrench on him. Yeah.
You know, has a dangly vape pen in his mouth.
You know what annoyed me was the first thing that the female Klingon did is, when she stole the shuttle, is she's sending a distress call saying that, Enterprise is the one who attacked them. Like, really, bitch?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was a little mistaken. Just a little. I mean, she was in the freezer, so she literally couldn't see what was going on.
She didn't understand. She just woke up, there's people on the ship, and then she ran.
Let's make an assumption that it was the people who came into the ship who, are the ones who attacked us.
Never assume. You'll make an ass of yourself.
Mm-hmm. But this is where it was a good thing Hoshi was on board, because they're trying to figure out, okay, this thing is being sucked down into the gravity of this gas giant, and we're going to die if we don't figure a way to get this thing going again. So, but this is the only thing being science oriented. If the propulsion wasn't working on that Raptor, what was keeping it in high orbit?
Well, it was working, but it wasn't working to the point where they were escaping, and the ship was far out of whack. They couldn't get any altitude.
Okay, now that I can accept.
And going further to one of the things I noticed was the Klingons. So Archer's like, why did the Klingons want to kill me every single time? Like they brought that up. Why did the Klingons want to kill Archer every single time they see him? And I'm thinking probably for the same reason I want to, because he's sort of annoying.
Yeah, but they don't know him personally, so they don't,
I don't know him personally too, and I want to smack him upside the head.
Well, the Klingons are like the Hulk. They probably look at Archer and go, puny human.
Well, he doesn't look like he's got a bunch of honor. I mean, come on, look at that guy.
Yeah, true.
He's the size of a twig. My child can break him. So I can see that. Yeah. But they caught her and they pulled her on board. No, wait, is this the section where they pulled her on board?
She got it. They got her. They grappled the shuttle pod, and she's on board. And of course, the fun little tense scene in the launch bay where they're sending like 7 people to go get her, and they don't know where she is, and she happens to pop. She's actually in the shuttle pod, and she lurches out at somebody. It takes 2 phaser shots to take her down, not just 1, but 2. So tough girl, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably set on stun, like the lowest stun setting.
Well, she was stunning, but it takes a couple shots.
But you just needed somebody like Chekhov that goes, such wonderful muscles.
Muffles?
Wonderful muffles. Remember in the movie, he said that in one of the movies.
He did. He was appreciating the Klingon form, female form.
Yeah, the female, so she's got wonderful muscles. I thought that line stayed with me because I thought it was so funny. But yeah, he tried to talk to her, and Phlox has got her, and she's like, you guys are lying. You're liars. I don't trust anything you say. Yeah,
it makes it hard to have a conversation with somebody when everything they think you say is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
But then Archer did the logic bomb on her, and
Well, he had to go read up on the homework. He had to do his homework assignment. Our science officer always does her homework assignments, and she does a really good job at it. He needed to take a lesson from her and just done that in the first place.
Thank you.
Yeah, but she don't like him, so how would he take a lesson from her?
Yeah, he's not coming anywhere near me.
This is the third time they've run into the Klingons, and Archer still hasn't done this homework yet. How does he not know about the Klingons?
Good point.
And the first word he learns, and he smiles when he says it, is Kapla.
Kapla. Although, to be fair, that was the first word I learned, too.
It's an easy word.
Talk.
I actually tried to study Klingon for a while. They have it on Duolingo, and I found that it's modeled after the Japanese language, where you have the, how we say that's a pretty woman. They don't have the adjective in front of the noun. It comes after that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And Klingon, their way of saying thank you is, I won't kill you today.
Yay!
That sounds like Princess Bride, young Wesley, go to sleep, maybe I'll kill you tomorrow, that kind of thing.
That's interesting, though, because like the Japanese language is not guttural like Klingon at all.
No, but the syntax, the way they did it, and some of the words are similar to human words, like buttock is like buttocks. So,
oh, yeah, if you do the katakana.
Yeah.
So the katakana is the part of the Japanese language where it is basically mimicking the sound of other foreign words. And then hiragana is where it's like those are the Japanese words that they say.
So it's definitely interesting. I studied enough just to say help. A woman's pretty or ugly, and
how do you say help?
Gulp, which is kind of like saying gulp, but it's gulp for help. Or if you want to say a woman is pretty, tien. So traknan tien is like a pretty Terran.
But why would a Klingon ever ask for help?
That's the whole thing. The Klingons not supposed to ask for help. That's if you're on the Klingon planet and they're messing with you. That's when you ask for help.
I got it.
So it was an interesting lesson, but I quickly gave up on it after a while. So let's continue on before we get totally off track on that. Where were we with the woman and...
So they're on the bridge and they're trying to read the panels and figure everything out. And of course, the one thing that lights up is Reed sees the weapons panel and goes, ooh, something called photon torpedoes.
Next section.
That's next section? Okay.
Yep.
Well,
Okay.
then let's go to the next section.
Act 3, Klingon Psychology. Storyline B. The away team continues to search for some way to survive, and they come across the reason for the Klingons' hangover, poorly fermented alcohol, and the ship's malfunction. Insert technobabble here. As they continue to fall further into the gas giant, Hoshi has an anxiety attack, which T'Pol calms down using a type of tapping meditation. The moment Hoshi starts to relax, the ship is crushed inward about half a foot by outside pressure, sending Hoshi into an absolute anxiety storm. Storyline A, back on Enterprise, Archer experiences an epic fail when he asks the Klingon prisoner for help. She then engages in some serious mental exercises focused on Klingon psychology. Phlox figures out why this Klingon wasn't affected like the rest of the crew, and both Trip and Travis reinforce the only shuttle Enterprise has, so that way they could go and save their away team.
It was a nice thing to see Hoshi using her language skills to try to figure out what was going on and read the panels. She was making sense out of a lot of them. But like you said, when Reed, so it's like weapons. I know weapons. So...
I find this the most interesting challenge. It kind of reminded me of what movie was it? Where U-571 was a submarine movie where they get on the German sub, and of course there it's in German and they're speaking English. And how do you learn? You know how to run your own submarine, but how do you run when the gauges are a completely different language? This is a fascinating challenge. How do you learn how to work a ship that is completely foreign designed? It blows my mind a little bit. And a simple ship like a submarine's got like a diesel engine and batteries just like everything else, but a warp powered ship got phase inverters and this and that, and the port fusion ejector, they got to fix that thing. But aside from being a port, like I know which way port is, but what's the fusion ejector look like? All these little technical things you're trying to figure out just to make the ship work. It's interesting challenges and everything is in Klingon.
It really was the fact that he look at the configuration, could figure it out. When I was younger, I don't know if I've told this before, I used to read the Fantastic Four comic books, and Reed Richards would always be able to figure out a device, even if he had no experience with it. And I used to thought that was such bullshit until I learned electronics in the service. Once you've become an expert into something, you can kind of look at something and guess the configuration, even though you don't read it. Like I am 100% certain I can drop you, Rocky, in a sound system booth somewhere clear across the world, and it can have like Russian, Japanese characters all over it. And I guarantee within 20 minutes, you'd figure out how that thing works.
Yeah, you learn a system, but it's interesting, something completely foreign designed. I mean, a Klingon ship is completely put together in a way different way than a regular Starfleet ship. So it is interesting. And the basics of propulsion, you move up this way, down that way. I mean, navigating through space is, it's just rocket science, right? But
and you think their galley would have at least some kind of food synthesizer.
Nope, just fresh targ. Wait for the slaughter.
Or worms.
Or yes, it looks like a worm. It is a worm.
Yeah.
That would be incredibly foul if you think about it, because thrusters on a ship or on a plane, you throttle up to go faster and you pull the throttle back to slow down. But what happened if they're thinking linearly? It's like, okay, you slide it to the left in order for it to go fast, because that's the direction your ship is going.
You slide it to the left.
Right.
And then to the right.
There you go. Put your hand on your hips.
And bring your knees in tight.
And there we go.
And it's the pelvic thrust. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh,
After this,
we'll get Patrick back in about 20 minutes here. He's got to do the whole movie now.
After this, Hoshi's going to go back to Earth and teach Klingon language 240 Clean Psych. I just totally bombed that, but yeah, you understand what I mean.
Yeah, that should have been funny, but
it should have been funny, but it wasn't funny.
So let's see here. Other big point in this section. So you've got your Klingon strapped down to your medical bay table, and she's freaking out.
Not
she's
happy.
Like, let me die on my feet. I mean, she's like, she wants to go out like a Klingon with honor. She wants to go out fighting, and you've got her strapped down to a fucking table. This is not a good way for a Klingon to go. So of course she's freaked out, and Archer's got to figure out how to talk to her.
Yeah, so he goes and he starts the study, and he goes like, okay, I think I got it. But we don't see the fruits of that until much later on.
But he was saying maybe it's time to start thinking like a Klingon. Mm-hmm. And when he said that, I was sort of like, what the heck are you talking about? Are you saying that like Archer should go beat the crap out of her or something?
Well,
like,
something.
No, but you see the way he talks to her later, the way he phrases things to make it seem like it would be the honorable thing to do, as opposed to, well, if you're just going to be a little bitch and lie here and complain while your, shipmates die.
Yeah, Klingons are about honor, and you've got to come at them in an honorable way. And it's just not being honorable as far as, Starfleet officer. We've got,
honorable being like starting a fight.
He's starting a fight, but, it's not a battle necessarily. It's basically the way I look at this is because I went through college and one of the instructors pulled out the 7 highly effective habits of people or something or other, what it was called. And, it's one of those where they play a tape for the entire class. I'm like, thanks a lot, teacher, for teaching a lot. You just played a tape the entire class. But one of the lessons is, when you want to try to communicate with somebody, seek to understand and then to be understood. So you have to understand where they're coming from. You have to understand what are they trying to get at before you can come at yourself and say, this is what I want. You got to hear what they want first. So
you got to see what she values above all else.
You've got to get
as opposed
inside
to what
her
you
head.
think is valuable.
Correct.
Right. Just like Beckett said, I want honor. I need honor.
Yes.
Give me honor.
So, trying to unravel the mystery and try to figure out, well, look, this is what happened. You guys, apparently won a great battle and you partied pretty hard, but something was poisoning you. It wasn't us because, it wasn't us.
Because it's the people that you kicked their ass who poisoned you. Ha ha.
Yeah. They think they won with honor, but they didn't get away with it, because they did an inhonorable thing to them.
It's karma, bitch.
Yeah, sometimes it's karma.
But he said the right thing. You're right. That got to her head is like, if you allow them to die a dishonorable death, how's that affect your honor?
It's like, this is not the way to be honorable. You should be honorable like this. And like, this is, okay, fine. That kind of talked her into it. Although she was still thinking, well, this is a trick.
Yeah, but she's like, do I want to take the chance of sending my crewmates into Stovacore with no honor?
Yeah, it's better to take a chance one way versus the chance to do nothing in the other. I thought it was interesting. Do you guys notice that welding is basically the same as it is in the future as it is today? Archer and Tripper welding up the shuttle pod, and the same thing. They got the same helmets. They've got the same welding stick. I mean, that welding technology has not changed that much in the future.
Yeah,
No,
bad.
Not until at least Discovery, when they got the MacGuffin device that does everything.
Yeah, or you get the dot bots over there to weld it for you.
Yeah.
They're welding that sucker by hand with, big face masks and everything.
Stupid question. Were the dots created in 2255 when Discovery started, or were they created in 3188 when Discovery jumped into the future?
I think they were created beforehand,
Yeah,
and
they
they evolved a great deal in the future.
So why did we never see dots in any of the other series? Creators, just saying.
That's because it cost too much money to render them.
The special effect budget wasn't as big. Yeah,
Or maybe
we were too
they
busy
were
trying
just-
to do the makeup
Budget.
right on Data,
Yeah,
so they were,
budget.
Maybe they were like prototypes on Discovery and they hadn't been deployed to the rest of the Federation
Ooh,
yet. And
I
then
like that.
when Discovery jumped into the future, they were like, okay, well,
Yeah, that makes sense because they have the spore drive. That's not an everyday occurrence on a
I
starship.
like
So
that.
the
Lost
Discovery had the
technology.
special bells and whistles, except for the seatbelts, right?
yeah.
That's a good one.
And they're like children. They are to be seen and not heard. So, or at least they're like our podcast. When we come on, they're all supposed to run and disappear.
There you go. Hide.
But did we get to this section when Reed starts shooting his wad into the cloud?
That's next section.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's get to the next section then, because we like wad shooting.
This is the section where he's trying to put the stuff back together. Yes.
Oh, I like that interpretation, though.
It's fascinating interpretation, sir. Yeah, Reed burned his hand again. He was dehydrated and fumbling about, and then he leans over on the fucking pillar with all the heat in it and just burns.
Well,
the
that's
hell
what
out of his
happens
hand.
when you take cold medicine. You gotta hydrate because you get dehydrated.
And he's a little loopy too, so it's somebody needs to give him a bigger water bottle or something.
Next section.
But
Then
I
let's go
thought
to
it
the
was
next
funny
section.
though. One of the other episodes where they were trying to build the phase cannons, and he's trying to do it in a hurry, and he leaned up against something, and he zapped his hand on a panel because it wasn't depolarized or whatever. I just think this is kind of funny that maybe his hand's just starting to feel better, and then he gets on his Klingon ship and leans up against something and burns the same hand again. I just like, oh man, what luck.
This should have been titled Reed's Bad Day.
And
Seriously.
it happens to be his right hand.
Oh no! Now he's do it left-handed.
Oh, he's going to do the stranger.
Oh! Speaking of doing things with your hand, is this the section where Paul helps Hoshi out with the meditation techniques?
Yes.
That was a really cool scene, but of course, our dirty minds, I'm sure you guys had it too, but I'm like, oh God, T'Pol's a Vulcan and she's going to do a hand thing with Hoshi. That's the way Vulcans start doing it, right? With their fingers.
I thought she was going to do a mind meld on her.
I thought it was very.
I thought she was going to do like a scene from Ghost. She's going to be behind her.
I thought it was a very human thing for her to do for Hoshi.
I agree.
It
was a very nice thing for her to do.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that she was like, here, let me legitimate help you with this.
So the humans are affecting T'Pol.
Yeah. And then as soon as she helps her, the pressure starts crushing the ship and she gets like anxiety again.
Well, you're calm for at least half a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's growing, and you see that T'Pol's actually caring more, and she's realizing about the crew. And that little thing she taught Hoshi is like, 1 second of peace is something she's going to be able to apply the rest of her life. That little meditation technique. So I thought that was cool. That was a nice little bonding moment between the women.
Yeah, because before, she was like swearing at her in Vulcan or something, right? Where they were talking back and forth and being snappy at each other. So this is nice to see a nice gesture going back and forth.
It reminded me, there's when you do pressure points, there's where T'Pol was tapping on Hoshi's hand, there's a pressure point there that relieves headaches.
Yeah, there's like one below your thumb that you hit. That's supposed to help that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
And what she was doing with the tapping, it reminded me of a therapy technique that people use for traumatized and anxiety-ridden people. I don't remember the name of it.
Masturbation?
No.
No?
Well,
Oh.
no.
Close, but no cigar.
Oh, you use a cigar. Okay.
Oh, goodness.
We're really all over the map today, aren't we?
Next section,
We
please.
should get to the next section
Yes,
before we get too far
section.
out.
Next section. Okay, Act 4. Magically perfect. As the away team falls to their death, Reed uses the photon torpedoes to blast them up to a safer area in the gas giant. Archer arrives right at that second, and with the Klingon crewmen. Some shit happens in the background that we don't see, and then both ships are okay, and the day is saved, and everyone successfully leaves the smelly gas giant. The away team's reward is sitting half naked in the decon sauna for 30 more minutes.
It should be noted, though, that the photon torpedo idea was Hoshi's.
It was a horrible idea.
She's like, let's launch all of them. What? Oh my God.
You don't even know what photon torpedoes are. Let's blow them all up at once.
Hoshi's
500
like,
feet away.
Let's just nuke it from orbit. We're in orbit. What the hell?
Kidding?
She's like, I'd rather die fast than die slow.
Might as well get it over with. You know, what else are we gonna do?
it now.
I mean, let's blow up rather than being crushed together, microsecond by
That's
microsecond.
exactly it.
I like that. She's just, let's go for it. Fireball. Like, holy shit,
seriously,
you're going to get us killed.
think
We're going
about
to die
it.
anyway.
Right?
Did you want to be in a bridge listening to things collapse all around you and then you lose your oxygen and then you start to slowly asphyxiate and die as your body starts to get compressed to the size of a ping pong?
It was
Screw
the
that.
pressure getting to her. It was the pressure.
Under
she's like-
pressure.
Really?
I kind of like it, though. I mean, the whole idea of this bird of prey riding the effects of blasting some photon torpedoes out.
It was a raptor.
It's just crazy. Yeah, a raptor. Yeah, Klingon raptor.
It's
It
like,
was,
come on, let's do it.
yeah, it was pretty wild.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
She looked at Reed and she goes, I know you want to. You know you want to shoot all of them. All of them? That's right.
We're gonna blow
over
all of them, or I'm gonna give you some Zarantine ale.
That's right.
All over that gas giant.
Oh my God.
That's right. Go balls deep. That's what you better do. And that's what happened.
Come on, baby, light my fire.
But it worked. They were able to get the thing up enough.
They
And
got it up. They got it up.
They
She fired it all and got it up.
They have Viagra in the future for
That's right.
spaceships.
They were able to get going.
I'm sure Archer appreciated that.
Well, especially after it all ends and the Klingons are like, dude, you used up all our photons. We want to kick your ass now. What the fuck?
But she told on him. Even though they rescued the ship, they got it up, they brought her back to her own ship. You know, when she administered the antidote, she's probably, the Enterprise fucked with us.
It's like, I don't know what those freaking humans did, but they were all over our ship.
They were all in our shit. They were
Forget
nosing
the fact
through
that they gave
everything.
us the antidote for the neurotoxin that we got from the Zarantine ale.
They didn't care.
They screwed with us.
Yeah, and they stole Tom's bathleth. It wasn't me. It was the crew, the Archer crew.
They
The
were
Enterprise
all
crew.
up in their ship. They were smelling the
all of this-
smells. They were looking at the stuff. They were looking at their sensitive, bridge controls. What the hell? So
It's like,
violated.
don't get all up in my ship.
Maybe he found my Targ porn.
Ew, that's gross.
I cannot let him leave with that secret.
Don't look in that drawer.
It's like,
That's gross.
I left my browser open. It was not honorable.
Seriously. They were all over the place. You know that. It's like, why is Campano sticky? Must have been the Earthlings. Was it me?
Must have been Earthquakes. It was.
It has to be. But then he came out, and the fact that Archer studied the Klingons, he knew what to say. And if he didn't, he wouldn't have known what to say, and they would have got into a fight.
Yeah, he
It's
maintained his status. It was like, look, we're going to kick your ass. It won't last 10 seconds. There won't be no honor involved in this. You should just
Yeah.
go home.
Archer verbally bitch slapped him.
Basically, It's like, your ship is fucked up. We're not fucked up. You have nothing left. We know you have nothing left. So just take your little ass and go home with whatever honor you have left. And the guy go,
Take your two penises and get out of here.
yeah. He was like, oh, fuck you. Disconnect.
That's it. He rage quitted.
Yeah, he did.
He's like,
did rage quit.
don't you dare hang up on me, click.
Yeah. It is like, we're going to tell a totally different story when we get home.
How they kicked Enterprise's ass where they were plummeting towards a gas giant.
You know that they're going to. And in fact, think about what a wuss way to go is that you drank some bad wine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the one you stole from somebody's asses you kicked. I mean, just it was kind of it sounded. I don't know what the Zarantines were all doing with the Klingons, but it didn't seem that cool.
No, it shows you that even in the future, Montezuma's revenge is a real thing.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a interesting episode. The fact I think that Heather didn't have much of a rant against this one either. Could it be that it's growing on you?
Like a fungus?
She's not.
You know,
she's
getting quiet.
You know, Archer is getting better though. He really realizes he doesn't know it all, and he's looking it up. He's like, okay, let's find out what I'm screwing up here with the Klingons. He knows he's screwing it up. Let's
look at Wikipedia, and we'll go to Wikipedia, and we'll find out what's going on with these Klingons.
Yeah, he looks it up, and he says, "Oh, death before dishonor." Okay, now let me think about that and see what it means before I talk to this Klingon.
He recognizes he's a know-it-all. Yes.
Yeah, he goes to Paul, says, all right, this is a new species. What does the Vulcans have as a cheat code?
The Vulcan cheat code is let them die. What the hell? That was like, pretty brutal. They're aboard the ship, and they're all unconscious. So she's like, well, the ship's going to crash itself anyway, and they're already unconscious. Well, let me just get the fuck out of here. It was kind of logically, we should just let them go, because that's the way they would want it in the first place.
I just thought of a rant I could do for this episode.
Uh-oh.
I have a rant for this episode. Yes. And it's perfect because it's in this section too, section 4. So it magically just like everything got better. That sort of bugged me.
They did not use the transporter, okay?
They didn't use the transporter. I went back and I watched it like 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, Archer and the Klingon go to the Klingons ship. They're still falling. They're still having problems. I don't know why Hoshi, Reed, and T'Pol didn't fix that little like thing that they had to fix. Archer and the Klingon come in. Why couldn't the Klingon fix whatever technobabble they said needed to be fixed? And then they don't show any of it. They don't show them getting out of the space giant, the gas giant. They don't show any of like the actual rescuing part of it. And then all of a sudden, everything's okay and perfect and wonderful, and we're at the end of the episode.
Well, they couldn't have used the transporter.
Well, it was interesting too. She wanted to do it herself, and Archer's like, no, we're here to help. Let us help you fix this. And I bet she knew it was like something that was complete. Like she probably hit one switch and the thing started to work.
Let me put it this way: why didn't Hoshi, Reed, and T'Pol fix whatever needed to be fixed so they could fly out of the gas giant instead of bombing all of the photon torpedoes so they could stay up?
They couldn't figure it out. They really don't. They don't know their fusion manifolds.
Either that or they didn't have. There wasn't enough time to do it.
Their ejector ports or whatever. And they're running out of time. Yeah, time is also an issue.
And they didn't use the transporter because there was too much EM fluctuation from the gas giant.
Right, but they're still falling. So even if it does take them a long time to do it, they're still falling, and then they have to fix it. So they're still like, why didn't you start this at the beginning? Why didn't the Klingons start this? You know.
Well, she just came out of the freezer. She didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, they were all passed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they drank and they passed out in the cloud. They were probably doing a run silent, run deep. They wanted to escape, and that was on the if you remember the logs that the Klingon had made, that they were hiding in the cloud thing. So they're probably chilling, drinking the wine, says, all right, we're going to get ready to go. And they all started passing out.
Then they played Toxic by Britney Spears.
Yeah.
And then shit hit the fan.
Good call, sir.
Yeah. So she probably went in the freezer because she's like, damn, this wine is making me feel so hot. I need to cool down. And she was out.
Just passed out in the freezer.
She passed out.
Yeah.
Then she wake up and there's people on spacesuits on the ship. So no wonder she freaked out.
It's like we're being attacked.
That's a good point.
She was on defense. I did wonder when they did have the conversation. It was like, let me go fix my ship. And they're like, no, we're here to help you. We'll all go fix your ship. And sitting there arguing about it. Meanwhile, the ship is slowly decaying in orbit, and further and further the pressure, and like, stop talking about it and go fix it already.
Exactly.
And she probably knows it's the whole thing with the ship. She knows that she's on it. She served on it. So she knows all the personality quirks of the thing. They're trying to figure it out. And she goes, oh, you just turn this and counterclockwise.
And bang the pipe with your hand, just give it a good bang and it'll start. Because the Klingon ship, percussive maintenance.
And you just kick the shit out of that panel and look, it's running.
It works just fine. Nothing wrong with the ship.
So, and she gave everybody, and plus it was all hands on deck because it looks like they recovered pretty quick. and they get out of there before the other Klingon ship showed up. So that was smart.
That was good timing on Archer's part.
And this was another don't judge a book by its cover, because the Klingon female automatically judged the humans without knowing anything about them.
They're lucky, because if the Ferengis found them, they would have stripped that thing barren and then let it crush. What is that? How much do you think we can get for this Targ?
Salvage.
It's funny because when the Ferengis first show up in the Next Generation, they're supposed to be a nemesis for the Federation, and somehow they turn into be comedic relief.
Well, come on, with those ears. Come on.
It was an interesting twist, wasn't it? Because they did seem kind of like, oh my God, spooky, scary alien with big ears, and they're hissing like reptiles, and like, oh my God, teeth, and they got lightning whips. They got lightning whips.
And the way they were moving. And
then you go and hang out in Quark's bar and realize, oh, these guys are just businessmen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was definitely interesting. This was a good episode, I think. It's beginning to show growth on the crew members, and of course, at the end, they had to do the bow chicka wow wow, as Heather likes to say.
They like the blue light special going.
That's why they were in the blue light, was because there was the growth.
It's like, you smell that? What? I don't smell anything. Exactly.
And you notice they allow, rather than for her to walk around in front of them, T'Pol walked behind them with her bullet bra to talk to the communication, because nobody wanted to get up and move.
Everyone else was just sitting there. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I'll do it. Fine. And notice how short her panties were.
Yeah, and on top of it, her cleavage from the first episode to the second one is like, what, they put anti-grabs on the bottom of them things?
It's a lifting bra.
Seriously. So that was pretty wild. But again, it showed them relaxing in the sauna, and she actually lied in a way and gave in.
Yeah.
So again, it shows further bonding. So I thought
Vulcan
that was
is
nice.
getting comfortable with the humans.
Yeah, and Reed wasn't sniffling anymore.
Or she's getting corrupted by the humans.
Yeah, the way that they looked at her, like, hey, come on, join in.
The double head nod shot was really cute.
That was so funny.
It was.
Like, come on, T'Pol, don't fuck this up for us. Come on now.
And then she had to agree. It is kind of nice to sit here and chillax.
Yeah, peer pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Phlox is like, oh man, I got to run into the scan.
Right.
So I have a question for you there, Patrick.
What?
What's next week's?
Well, next week we have Shadows of Pajem.
Shadows?
Yes.
Of Pajem?
T'Pol is being recalled because of Enterprise's involvement in the destruction of the Pajem sanctuary. She and Captain Archer are later kidnapped while visiting the planet Horadin.
Ooh.
Wow. So stuff is playing out from last time.
This is going to be interesting.
Wow. And it's going to be directed by V'ger.
V'ger itself?
Mike V'ger. Yeah, Mike V'ger.
Did we ever find out if that's actually how you pronounce it?
I don't know, but that's how I'm pronouncing it.
Okay. It's all good.
It's better than some of the other pronunciations we could give it.
You got a point on that one.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And now we've come to the end of our episode. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for those of you who showed up for the premiere. Thank you for joining our Patreon people out there. You help keep us going. You help keeping the neutering going and keeping our Tribbles in Cool Ranch Doritos. This is not a plug for Cool Ranch Doritos. So thank you once again. Please go out there, enjoy yourselves, and just don't have a great week, but make it so.
And if you can, support the show by going to patreon.com/Starfleet Underground. Lots of perks to choose from, and you might even like some of them. Starfleet Underground, beaming into a podcast feed near you. Log on to our website at starfleetunderground.com and send your comments and questions to thecollective@starfleetunderground.com. Follow us on Twitter at StarfleetUnderG, and on Facebook and Instagram, we're Starfleet Underground.